This is May 8th, 2025, and this is the John Brown Alliance, where we don't fear, we fight. Before I get into other things today, I would like to give a big shout out to a new thing called the FAFOPAC.org. Look it up on Google. And one of my biggest heroes in this world, Malcolm Nance, is heading up this effort. On the 14th of June, we need as many people as possible to come to Washington, D.C. with upside down American flags. Yes, we are crashing Donald Trump's birthday party. So if you want more information, go to FAFOPAC.org. Now, the first thing I would like to say is I am a little bit bored now with a lot of people, white and Latino, and black in some cases, who voted for Donald Trump. And now they're disenfranchised by what's going on. We told you a long time ago. So my question is, I wasn't a big fan of Trump rallies. So when he was running for president this last time, I turned on the news and I happened to catch certain things. And after I caught those things, I turned them off. And one of the things he said during the dead of winter and the absolute heat of summer is, I don't care about you, I just want your vote. When people were passed out and being left out in the cold, being promised rides to these rallies and so forth. So what part of he didn't give a fuck about you didn't you understand? When he said that they aren't sending their best, they're gang members and psychopaths and rapists and all that, did you really honestly think he didn't mean you? If you did, you missed the memo. For the rest of us who have been here since 1492 and beyond, this is not our first rodeo, and we've seen this movie before. So every possible black person with any common sense has been warning every white and Latino American that this guy is not the guy for you. So right now, do us a solid, because I'm getting a lot of people in the DMV asking me or telling me nobody's doing anything, but I don't watch the news. For one thing, if you don't watch the news, then you're not going to see anybody doing anything. Second, mainstream news media does not fact check Donald Trump in real time the way independent media does. They let him bang his gums and they keep playing the same tapes over and over and over again. And then they just move on to the next subject, as if what he said wasn't anti-American. Then, on those same broadcasts, they complain about this stuff being normalized. If you have a problem with that, do your job. And every time something comes out of his mouth on your broadcast, call it out. But they're not doing that on MSNBC or CNN, especially in the morning. They've gotten very lazy with pulling out the untruths from everything Donald Trump says. So I tune in a little bit, but by the time MSNBC or CNN airs something, it's already been on independent media. So I say to the Latinos especially, before you kick rocks on people and talk about what they're not doing to help you, first of all, you shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. Secondly, Maybe you need to open your fucking eyes up and watch something. And educate yourself about what's being done to you. Instead of having these false allegiances with something you think is going to make you white and accepted here in America. Because that's not the way it works. If it worked that way, the Native Americans would be white now. That being said, we need to talk a little bit about personal sovereignty. I'm going to skip over all the nasty things that are happening. And I'm going to hip you to Stephen Miller, who I've been following since 2016. I know his whole dossier. Now, when Donald Trump stole the first election, with the assistance of Russia, there was this little devil in a corner named Stephen Miller. And that's the reason why you had those camps where they just threw Latino people in, separated them from their parents, and you have a whole generation of kids that don't know where their parents are right now because of Donald Trump. Did you Latino voters forget that? Did black people who thought Sleepy Joe wasn't making them enough money, did you forget that? Did you forget that those folks were the low-hanging fruit? And the ultimate goal was to get rid of you? I thought you knew that. And I'm going to get on black folks for a moment, especially the ones with money supporting Donald Trump. Do you remember the original sin of slavery? Have you ever heard a story from a Native American put in a hot box at places like Carlisle Institute? A hot box was a place that they put Native American children after, I think, 1890 and before, where there was no water, no toilet, no nothing. It was a dugout in the ground with a grate over top. And until you started speaking English, that's where you stayed. Those children were molested. Those children were denigrated. Those children were encouraged to act white but never be accepted as such. So, white America, are you really as oppressed as you think you are? Are you really the victims of anything? The way I recall, I think you came here. Oh, let's go to Jamestown, just for argument's sake. And then one of the governors of Virginia decided they were going to bring slaves here. And since then, after the Civil War, not only did you get to keep much of the land that you had stolen from Native Americans, you got to keep your profits from slavery. The names of your plantations are still where I live. Then you benefited from that generational wealth. Then you benefited from being white and the undesirables, quote unquote, black people, are now released into society. And oh, a president named Woodrow Wilson in, I don't know, the year 1912 did a showing of Birth of a Nation, the most racist film in American history, right in the White House. And right around the corner from where I live is a bridge devoted to him. Just like all those other Confederate traitors to the United States who have military bases named after them. And still statues are up. At what point in American history did millionaires like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump, and everybody who siphoned off of the labor of black, indigenous, and Latino people, at what point were you oppressed? Because I can guarantee you, you're not sitting in your house wondering where your next meal is coming from. But yet, you convince a segment of the poorest populations in the United States of America to hate black people, make them a target, flaunt your wealth in front of them, and let them love starving because they're kissing your ass. That's white America right now. That's what you represent. That's what we call white trash when you call us elites. Because we benefited, I don't know, from $1 or $2 pay raise, while you made generational wealth off of the backs of people you whipped, raped, pillaged, desecrated, hung, lynched, burned, and now are trying to disappear and erase their history. If you need someone to lead you right now, is a white American. If you're looking for leadership, if you're wondering why the blacks aren't there and the Latinos aren't there, who didn't vote for Donald Trump, and all these people aren't there, maybe you should consider letting them make the decision as to whether they're going to be there or not. First off, because we have a genetic memory about what was done to us. Every day of my life, every elder I've ever encountered didn't tell me I was special because I was white. They told me what I had to do to avoid being killed by whites. Imagine that being your life. But you're sitting there yucking it up because you own the libs. You don't own shit. You know what you own? Karma. And it's coming. So, I need to ask you once again. We need 5 million people to come to Washington, D.C. on June 6th first. Because one of these demonstrations are taking place at the White House and the other is taking place at the National Monument. So, either way, you need to be there. And I have some other solutions as far as bridges coming up soon. Some demonstrations that are coming up on the 14th of June. So what I need to address now is what we do and how we do it. No matter what, my state has laws that protect you in self-defense. You can't run up in somebody's house and shoot it up and steal stuff. You know, you can't walk up on somebody and detain them in plain clothes saying nothing. If you get yourself in a situation that you question your civil, human, and constitutional rights, what you need to do is yell as loud as you can first and get out. Because we're coming to find out that these people that are seizing people for Donald Trump, Steve Miller, and the fascist regime that inhabits the White House are not in fact police officers. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that they might be Blackwater and under Eric Prince. That was first administration thing he wanted to implement. Like I said, you need to know your shit. Okay? This is days of future past. This is everything that they told you they were going to do when they stole the first election. Now they're stealing your liberty. So what you need to decide is what's more important to you. Do you risk your life for your family to protect their human and civil rights? Or do you allow yourself to be kidnapped and within 12 hours find yourself in another country? And this question is not only for people who have been labeled as illegal immigrants, MS-13, and all these other gangs. Most of the people who were sent to CCOT have absolutely no criminal record. At the time I'm speaking, Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, and Donald Trump are making arrangements for American citizens to be sent to Africa. And at least one country that I know has already agreed. That being said, why are these arrangements not being made with our NATO allies? Why can't you go to England or Denmark or Ireland or something like that? The reason why is because they want you to disappear and be killed and tortured and raped and everything else that happens to people who are disappeared. Right now, I'm still concerned. Still concerned with Mr. Garcia. Yeah, we did a little visit down there, but still, against the Supreme Court, Donald Trump and his administration, his regime, has not done anything to return this man to the state of Maryland. You're next. And I'm not talking about the average Trump voter. I'm not talking about people that put themselves out there to the point where there would be riots in the streets and they would burn down Washington, D.C. if this person was arrested, detained, and deported. I'm talking about Joe Nobody who voted for Donald Trump. And right now, judges throughout the United States. Yet, we're still waiting for a constitutional crisis to be declared by someone. Let me make it clear. I do not need a party or an individual to dictate to me my rights, my sovereignty, and my freedoms. What you decide is your choice. But this black Indian dies on American soil. Period. Full stop. Now, if you want to preserve your life for another 6 months by going to Africa or El Salvador or any other place Donald Trump chooses for you, the way he chose how he's going to exterminate you, that's now on you, because we warned you. You have two choices. Either you can accept your choice and pay the price with your life, or you can get your shit together and fight for your freedom right here on American soil, like some of us are committed to do. The date is May 8th. This is the John Brown Alliance, where we don't fear, we fight. And fight we will. You have yourself a great day.